Hi everybody, it's time for the craft room tour. I know you're excited. I have lots of new things and exciting changes that you've got to see. So let's get right into it.
All right, here it is. This is how it's going. I have so many new things to show you, and I'm going to show you where this craft room started off and all the new additions this year. All right, you got a brief how it's going. Let's look at how it started. This room started with some built-ins. This was in 2021 when I was just moving into this new house. Quickly in 2022, I was able to get my Alex drawers raised up, which I really like. I am a pretty tall person, and this was a big deal to me. The other big unit was a Kallax unit. Now, early this year, we're going to see if you can compare to now as to what has changed. Of course, I will go over everything in the video, tell you what all's changed in this room, all the new additions, but this was in January of this year. So you can see that in this one, I've added more stamp pad storage, including the Carousel this year. We will talk about that item, and they've actually created a lot of new items now that have that similar property, which really holds a ton of ink pads. Is this spinny thing right here holding my Distress Oxides. Now, let's see what we've done in the current room. Can you spot the differences? So, we definitely have a difference in the back wall. I have different things that hold some of my paper cutters, my stamp wheels, misties. I'm storing my paper differently and have had some advances, I feel like, in the ways that I store that so that I can find what I need. We also have more storage for ink refills, and really the name of the game this year is trying to stay organized, as this is my job to create content and create cards. I mean, what a job it is. It's a wonderful job, let me say, but it definitely has deadlines, and I am often a scattered, I love to just craft in a mess. So, the name of the game this year is organization and keeping task in order. And I've got some new units that are really helping me do that. So, if you are making projects or just trying to keep your holiday cards together or anything in order, make sure you're getting all those birthdays, I've got some ideas and some new units that I feel like really help me do that. So, we'll go through that. My desk is generally the same. It is a stand-up desk, and its setup is about the same, although I have moved a permanent die cutting machine on it because I'm just die cutting so much that it was just too much trouble to get it to it where I had it previously. I'll show you where that was soon. Now, over here, this unit is generally the same. One of these end paper storage things is a little bit different, and that's because of what I've been doing differently with my paper. I would absolutely love to have more of these Carousel products because they really take up, I think you can get the number of ink pads I can and 3 of those other things, and it really helps. Over here is a little bit of a mess, but this is kind of my mailing station, products that don't have a great home, like all the different types of paper. And then this is my new cart. Okay, this cart has really been helpful in keeping me organized. Okay, so we're going to go over all of these areas in depth. We're going to look in drawers. We're going to look through everything. So this is just a general, I wanted you to get the feel of the room. My room is small enough that sometimes it's hard to get the whole thing in one shot. So I do have to do kind of circle around the room to be able to show you. And there's no good corner of this room really that gets everything in the picture. So just bear with me. We're going to look at it all. Okay, we're going to start with the best. This back wall has always given me, since I've been doing craft room tours, this has been the most exciting part. So I want to make sure that I show off this back wall to you. Now, like I said, the 2 brown things are built-ins, and it does come up. I think this was supposed to be a bench in an office, and I put my IKEA Kallax drawers up on that bench, and that does lose a little bit of storage because that bench opens, but I love having them more my height. I am almost 5'7", and it's just nice to not have to bend down and look through these drawers. So what I did on top of my Alex drawers, which also gets probably the most comments of anything in my craft room tours, is what in the world do you have on top of these Alex drawers, and how can I get that same extra elevated look? So what I have used here, these are computer risers, and they are also the same thing as using a shoe shelf. So this is just basically some detachable shelves. I used the ones originally that were for propping up your computer, but many people have commented, and I've looked into it as well. There are definitely shoe shelves that fit perfectly like this on these Alex units. I've had the most success locating different sizes at Target and Amazon. Okay, let's look up close. This is one new addition to my craft room that I'm loving. It's from Make It by Marko, which is on Etsy. They do 3D printable things, and this is called the Mega Clutter Keeper. I love it because I can put all these things that generally lay flat and take up a lot of space in it. And it has these sections that you can stand up your Misty, your Altenew stamp wheel. You can put different paper trimmers in it, and I'll show it to you on the other side and how I've used it. It has, I think, 5 to 6 different slots. Very helpful for just maintaining and keeping up with all of these different things. I've even got a better press in here, just all kinds of stuff that I can put in this one thing that helps save me some space laying flat. I'm going to try to get up on top of it just so you can see that everything fits in here. It's kind of like dividers, but very sturdy, holds even the large new stamp wheel 2.0, and it fits really nicely on these shelves that I've put here. So, of course, measure your space, but it is a really easy and affordable way to create some space. This is a 12 by 12 paper holder from scrapbook.com. They're just plastic, and I really wanted some color behind me when I'm doing lives and that kind of thing, and I decided I was going to start keeping paper here. So on my shelf, this is 8.5 by 11 paper from Altenew that's in some plastic containers, and then I have the 12 by 12, and all that fits on that shelving. Back here, I have a mink machine, and I've covered it in these Picket Fence Studio paper pouncers. One, because they're just beautiful, but two, they're a little bit too big to fit in a drawer. The other option here is I use this wonderful double-sided adhesive. It's a foam, and it just really helps keep my card bases straight from scrapbook.com. And when I use a piece and don't use all of it, I put it in these little containers to use as my foam tape so that I'm not wasting any of these pieces. So I tend to stack back here, and you can see with the size shelves I have a little bit of space that I can use, and I use that to stack that foam tape. Right on top, I've used a 7-tier nail polish organizer. These 2 units are from Amazon. I will, of course, link them. They're perfect for holding my sprays. They would be a great way to organize your ink refills. For me, it's all these little things that fall over in a drawer or a little bit too tall for a drawer. With my ink refills, I do have another system that I actually really prefer, but I love this back here because one, it looks beautiful, and two, it just holds lots of little things that can fall over and spill in your drawers. So I love having these 2 units here to create room for all of those sprays and little items. And just FYI, these units do fit inside the Kallax. So if you've got the IKEA Kallax, each of these will fit. You can't fit 2 in each one, just one set. But I just love how it looks standing out because it gives so much color. Now, on this shelf, I have a set of Spellbinders ribbon, and the reason I have that separate is because if I'm doing projects for Spellbinders, I need to know which ribbons come from their store. I keep a pile of Better Press panels right here, and then I have some other room on here. I've got some die cut extras back there, and that plastic piece is what's called a small clutter keeper. It's another thing that will hold things standing vertically. This is my favorite paper trimmer from Rotatrim, and it fits perfectly under my shelves, which is nice, so I can pull it out when I need it because it is a larger size, but it is a great way to store a very big item, is to have it right there flat, and I can pull it out and use it. On this side, it somewhat mirrors the other side in that I've got the 8.5 by 11 paper. I have my 12 by 12 paper. I have another one of these mega clutter keepers. So this one has trimmers, it has scoreboards, it has the huge rotary trimmer in one of those sections. So I think I've only got 3 or 4 things in this one because that rotary trimmer is so large in the back, it kind of comes over some of the levels. This is another way to keep the Altenew paper. There's different weights of the Altenew colored cardstock, so I've got it kind of separated based on weight. And then I've got 3 more of these plastic units from scrapbook.com that fit together with my 12 by 12 paper. I just wasn't using my 12 by 12 paper. I had it kind of put away, and having it out like this, I've definitely reached for it more. The other thing that I love these big shelves for is it helps me store large items. So I've got my Gemini foil machine right there with the foil next to it. And then I have all of these are base plates for my spellbinders and other die cutting machines. So they're just big, bulky items that really need a home, and having them tucked under these shelves really helps me out. Okay, let's start peeking into drawers. I cannot promise all these drawers are perfectly organized, but I have had a few of them that I just really love. This is the washi tape drawer. I also have some sticky notes in here and occasionally a piece of foil that's just too big to fit anywhere else. I just put those in a kind of like fabric-y container from IKEA. So this actually came from IKEA to fit in the Kallax drawers, but you could put them in there in anything. You could use some silverware holders, anything. I just try to generally keep it in order so that I don't lose all of this wonderful washi tape, and I generally keep it in rainbow order in my drawer. And this is the best way that I've found to store all of these rolls that are much larger of washi tape. It's when you're not having uniform sizes, sometimes I have trouble storing them. So just storing them flat like this has worked well for me. So the second drawer is lots of bottles of sparkly things. This drawer just makes me smile when I open it. Now, I have another way of storing embellishments, but these all come in such great bottles. They're Nuvo bottles, or they're bigger than other things. And so I just use some silverware organizers from Target and or possibly Amazon. I'm not sure exactly where they came from. And then in this drawer, when they come in the little packets, I try to empty these packets out and add them to this organizer, which is called, so the little round ones, those come that way, but these I had to buy. So these organizers are called Elizabeth Ward Bead Storage, and you can buy different size little containers, and I love them. I make little bitty labels, and I just dump out all of that extra plastic so that it fits in here. And I usually keep it by different manufacturer and by rainbow order. So it's just a really nice way. These do stack on each other. And in the Kallax drawers, I'm able to fit 2 stacked on each other. So let me show you in here. In this one, I used 2 different ones. I still haven't completely filled all of these up, but this lifts up. It's got a top if you want to keep the top on it. And then let me show you how it lifts so that you can fit 2 in the drawer. And really, if you took out the rest of these things in this drawer, you could fit probably 4 in each drawer. I have these extra little units from Target that I use, and those just keep extra spares of the pieces, and you just need a little extra storage. This is a drawer of different paste. I have not decided if I'm going to continue to store these this way, but as of right now, I've got samples of each one, and then I put them in a drawer. This drawer has basically nothing, just a little apron and a really long piece of mink foil. So let's go to our next unit. Okay, this drawer may look like a mess, but it actually revolutionized what I was doing. I had all of these different sticky mats and different mats to put on my desk, and I just didn't have a good place to put them. And with sticky mats, if you put them out where they can get lots of dust on them, then you're having to wipe them off. So I love that I can throw all of those in a drawer and just have easy access when I need one. This is the start of my mini ink pads, okay? I love my mini ink pad storage. This is one of my favorite things in the craft room. I love having these mini ink pads, and I love this storage unit from Organize More. So this is a company in Tennessee that makes these. They are wooden and they hold mini ink pads really well. You can see I have a few missing. The reason is because I'm using those currently on a project, on my project container. You can fit 4 of these shelves in each of the Alex drawers if you're turning them this direction. I'll show you with my Catherine Pooler mini inks that I turn them a different direction so you can't fit quite as many, but I like to be able to read my labels. So you'll see I could fit 4 of these units. I only have 3 for this one, but I could fit 4 in this drawer if I have them lined up this way. Now, they do go deep into the drawer, and I know if you have Alex drawers, you know that that back space is a little bit hard to reach. So sometimes it's hard to reach the inks way in the back. So I tend to leave a little gap, or I put a refill bottle at the end so that it takes up a little space. So in this one, I've got Altenew inks and I've got a refill bottle at the very back where it's a little hard to reach the inks, so that when I pull the drawer open, I can see all of my ink cubes. If I need those refill bottles, I'm going to have to reach back into the drawer to get them, but it still gives me lots and lots of storage that I did not have before, and I love these units. Okay, this next drawer is from Stamp and Storage. This is called a grid storage system, and it's basically pieces of wood that they have handcrafted to hold perfectly lots of little bottles. Now, this could also go on my top unit. In that area, I've got lots of Nuvo Drops, and these are nice and beautiful, so you may not want to hide these away in a drawer, but if you do, it sure is nice to have this grid system that keeps them from falling over. And so this grid system holds all these Nuvo Drops. The really large bottle of Nuvo, which you can see on the left here, I could fill this in with grid if I wanted to, but I left it blank so that I could lay down some of these taller bottles that will not let the drawer close. So these Dream Drops are like about twice as tall, and if you try to close your Alex drawer with it, it is not going to work. So I left that extra space versus filling the entire drawer with grids because I wanted to keep all of my Nuvo Drops together. My next 2 drawers are more junk drawers. It's just extra vinyl, some glitter, some little jars that I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with. And then this one is just plugs and extra heat tools, all kinds of things that probably just need to be given away. Now, here is another one of those Organize More mini ink pad holders. I've used it for embossing powder, and although it does not hold that embossing powder completely, it will allow them not to turn over. So it's not like it's a perfect snug fit. You can move them around a little bit, but it is definitely keeping them from falling over in my drawer, and I like how that works. You will notice that I've labeled a lot of these. I've done swatching where you can see the black versus white, but I haven't gotten to all of them. There's so many that I haven't gotten there yet. But that really helps me when I'm picking colors for a project to have the swatch on the top of the bottle. You see how that's got 2? And then I've got these extra units over here because I was running out of my mini ink pad holders. I didn't have enough of them to do all my embossing powder, but the embossing powder is too tall to fit 2 in that drawer. So you can only fit 1 of those units. This is one of my favorite drawers. I love my storage for Catherine Pooler mini ink pads. I love her mini ink pads. I don't know why. I love their shape. I just love how they fit in my hand. And so even though I have some of the bigger ink pads, these are my absolute favorite. And I was dying for some kind of storage solution when I realized these mini ink pad holders could be turned a different way, and these fit perfectly fine. So I got several units for my mini ink pads, and I can fit 2 of each of these in this drawer, and then I still have space over here. So I've been keeping my my color wheels on the side. I keep labels on the side for Catherine Pooler, and I've kept all of my original boxes that these inks came in just in case I needed those. They're actually so sturdy, and they're good to hang around those. I've also got some labels here that I keep in a little thing for all of my ink pads. Been meaning to get all of these labeled differently, but the way I have them, I don't really need them labeled because I can see the tops of the ink pads. I did use some clear labeling to put the name of each of these colors in black because as I get older, it is harder to see those names on the top of the Catherine Pooler things. This next drawer is sentiments. So when I have extra sentiments, I throw them in this so that I can grab them quickly. It does have some different size embossing powders that would not fit as well in those mini ink pad holders, and then I've got some little containers with some tailored expression sentiments. These last couple drawers this one is all stitching, and I know it's a mess. I've got some of it organized and some of it not, and that's just going to be the way it is for the stitching because I love doing it, but I don't really care as much what's organized. I'm just grabbing colors. So this is my drawer for that. The next drawer is going to be all kinds of wax seals. So I've got a little bit of sentiments here I use, and then I just have been piling all my extra wax seals on top of a little plastic thing, thinking I'm going to organize them. And then all of my wax beads are in rainbow order here. I have tons of seals. I was doing the wax seal of the month, so I have almost a whole year worth of those there. I know it's a lot. Let's move to the Kallax units over here. These are spelled Kallax, and these are classic units from IKEA. If you don't shop there, there's a lot of ones that are similar to this in Target and Amazon and things like that, but this is the original IKEA version, and it has specific measurements for these openings. So lots of companies sell inserts that go into these units because they're so popular for crafting. So this is the one that I have on my front wall. So my desk looks at this unit, and that's where my TV is, that kind of thing. A couple of things I want to point out in here. I've got multiple different organization items in this unit. And of course, like I said, I will link all of those in the description, but we'll go through each one and kind of show you the differences because they really can make these units go to more custom versus just a generic piece of furniture. You really can do a lot with them. I highly recommend, and I do not get any type of kickback from IKEA or anything like that. They just are really nice for crafting items. This first one just has a basket that I got from Target, and I put larger size paper. So a lot of these paper pads are like 6x8, and there's not usually a good place to store them. And so I have that and some embellishments that come on a plastic sheet. So you saw my embellishment storage earlier where I can dump a pack out and put it in a little plastic bin. But the ones that come as sticker sheets, you got to figure out a way to store those as well. This is my original marker holder, and it's by the company Deflecto. It comes from Amazon, and it has these X's that hold different markers. These are relatively inexpensive, and that is 4 pieces there. I have moved my Copic markers to this holder, which is really made out of foam board. It is also from Amazon and relatively inexpensive, but it does take a little bit more effort to, one, you kind of have to put it together, and it fits perfectly. 2 of them fit perfectly in an IKEA Kallax unit, but it is tight. They're not something that you can pull out. Once it's in there, you're not likely to get them back out easily without dumping all of your markers. So once you've got it in, just leave it there and place markers from that point. So you really need to decide where it's going. It does utilize most of the space, whereas the other unit didn't fit completely. And I just like seeing that rainbow of colors. This is my brand new unit from Stencil Storage. This is made from wood. It's made in the USA, and it's a drawer unit that fits perfectly in this. I have not filled this drawer unit up completely, and I'm considering putting all of my embossing powders in here so that I have more room on those drawers to do more of the ink pads. And I know Stampin' Storage sells some things that go in these drawers, but I think I'm going to try to use some contact paper and just put these in here and line them up. I haven't really decided if they're going to fall over or not, but I may end up breaking down and buying some of the Stampin' Storage drawer inserts just to hold those in place. So here's another unit from Stampin' Storage. Yes, you can get these in white, but when I got this one, it didn't come in white, so that's why it is a different color. This is a drawer cabinet, and it's where I keep my finished cards. I made my own dividers for the different sections out of pattern paper and laminating, and then just stuck a little label on there so it says birthday, hello, and then I organize my cards in these little card areas based on what the card is about. I also put them in a little plastic sheeting that's the right size for an A2. I do not put card bases on until I'm ready to send a card, just for storage purposes. To me, it's easier to store more cards without the card base until I'm ready. Now, this bottom drawer's divided just a little bit different. So the A2 cards do need to be on their side or in kind of that horizontal landscape to fit. And the sizes of these are different. They make so many different of these that you can probably get them in any configuration that you want. Okay, so I can fit in each of these units 2 of these white bins. So these white bins actually come from IKEA, and they come in a small and a large, and these are super economical. So I know a lot of people like to use refrigerator bins, but these are much less expensive. And so I've kind of just gone with these as my Stampin' Storage dies. I do use pockets. I use the Avery L pockets. I use magnetic sheets, and I tend to label everything and organize it by size and company. So I keep companies together in my stamps and dies because often I am creating something specifically for a company. So I will get out that section of stamps and dies so that I can make sure that I'm using everything from that company. So I've got a couple of shelves of Altenew, a couple shelves of some other companies that I work with. Now, these bins that I'm talking about, they hold an extra large, which is like a 6x8 stamp set, and a small stamp set. But I like to turn the small stamp set sideways because they do fit. I mean, even though you can make it fit, it's not great with those big ones. This is a unit from IKEA. It's an H, so it's like a little insert that makes 2 shelves. And I've just got a couple of refrigerator bins, some brushes. It's just kind of a random storage area for me. I would love it if this had a door. I'm going to try to get some doors on this so that I can just close it up and you don't have to look at all of it. So each of these units, remember, can hold a large bin and a small bin. You could try to fit 2 large bins, but it sticks off the front a little bit. So I tend to have both sizes if I need a lot for that company. Plus, that little bin is shorter, and so you can see back in there. I tend to store my stencils in their original packaging and just label them. Same with embossing folders, and this is a bin of Altenew embossing folders and stencils. I'll pull a couple out so you can see. Okay, now I've got my adhesive area. Oh my goodness, it's overflowing. I wish there was some kind of door here. It's just I have these huge things of adhesive and not a great place to put them. One of these days I'm going to get this organized and y'all will be amazed at seeing that. But right now it's just functionality. I have tons of rolls of adhesive to do my job and extra glue refills, all that stuff, and I just decided to put it all in one section. Okay, the rest of this unit is pretty much stamps and die storage. Like I said, I use those Avery L pockets. I do have specific videos on stamp and die storage, on using what you have. So if you don't have pockets, sometimes I just leave things in the original packaging and add the label. I do feel like the label is necessary, but I don't think you have to repackage everything, especially if you're dealing with a lot of inventory. Let's look at my desk and then we'll hop to the other units. I'm going to try to show you from the corner because it is a stand-up desk and you can see straight under it. I kind of wish I had something that would protect that. But I have one of these carts right here that's got, it's kind of, think of it as my drawer system. I've got a trash can. I have my Archon mount. I have one of these lights. I use this light more when I'm not filming than when I am. It's just a great light. It's an OT light. And then A big problem in my room is managing the cords, especially when you're doing live streams and you have cords coming from everywhere, you're running computers. So I just turned over one of my plastic boxes that I store my stamps and dies in and just managed to keep all the cords covered up here. I did set on top a stack of all of my foam and double-sided adhesive. I like to keep that on my desk. Then for filming, I am currently using an Archon mount and I just put it over this nice Altenew mat. I also use sometimes the scrapbook.com mat there. I tend to prefer the black. I feel like I get better filming. And I've started keeping a die cutting machine on my desk. This is the Mini from Anna Griffin and the Impress machine. I'm really impressed with it. I just got it a few months ago and I just use it almost every day. The other item that I think is a must-have on your desk if you are die cutting is this magnet. So this is from Stacy Park. I got it at scrapbook.com, and I can stick all of my dies to it while I'm working on a project and not worry about losing them. The next essential for staying on the desk at all times is some type of tray. You can get these from all kinds of places. These are from scrapbook.com, and these are stackable so that I can put different die cuts in them. I often use coffee filters for this, so if you need a very inexpensive way to manage lots of things, embellishments, embossing powder, all the things that are on your desk, just grab a big pack of coffee filters, and that's another way to do it. Now let's pull out this We Are Memory Keepers project cart. It may look like a hot mess, but I'm going to go through why this is basically the drawer system for my desk because I don't have any drawers right here under it. So these are all my most used items, and I definitely have changed this around a little bit this year, and I've made some improvements that I really like. So this cart has a tray that goes on this very top level, but what I did is I removed one of the trays so that I had a deeper area on the top to create some more storage. So I've used the scrapbook.com heat tool holder, and I have some other little baskets in here and areas of things that I just have to use all the time. So I'm keeping my glues, I'm keeping a couple of pencils, my most important scissors, rulers, picker up tools, and my plugged in heat tool. So what I love about this, it's got these stainless steel type cups that you can put a hot tool in and be perfectly fine. So I have started doing that, which keeps me from having to find my heating tool every time I'm embossing and also have it plugged in all the time. I've got lots of different tape runners. I've got powder tools. I've got acrylic blocks. There's just so much that I can fit on this level that I try to keep it as accessible as possible for everything that I need. So with my scissors, I do put them in a silicone holder so that you're not messing up the points because these are metal cups. You can also put a little bit of padding at the bottom of your metal cup and just use that for your scissors as well. I just haven't quite got there yet, but this is one of my favorite parts of it is that I can put my heat embossing tool down in here and don't have to wait for it to cool off. Now you'll also see that I use all of my spray bottles kind of hang on this edge, and that's really nice and helpful too because it saves space. The rest of this cart are things that I use all the time. So my most used dies like my A2 layers, circles, things like that, I tend to keep them on this second tray. And then on the third and fourth trays are mostly my cleanup items. I've got some Swiffer pads. I've got the bottom level has my remote and a couple things on there. So it's not a completely full cart, and I like it that way because it definitely will get full during a project if I'm not careful. Next, I have a full-size trash can, which is essential. And then this is something I bought at Amazon. It's just a stick-on paper towel holder. I could see that you could use that for ribbon and all kinds of things, but it really has saved me a lot of space on my desk, and I love it. Okay, this last Kallax unit has a lot of different ink storage options. So we're going to go over that. We're going to look at these brushes. We're going to look at how I'm storing paper in this unit. Everything else is stamp and die storage or just other bins, but we're going to go over those few details to show you kind of what I've got here. On the top, I have a unit that holds my Catherine Pooler inks. I have these wonderful jars that hold ribbon. I just love organizing my ribbon in color families so that I can see it better up here. And I tend to use it more because I think, oh, let me grab some red ribbon and grab that jar. This top unit is a freestanding stamp pad holder, and that is also from Stencil Storage. I'm using it with my Catherine Pooler inks and Simon Says Stamp inks. All of these jars did come from IKEA, so if you're needing some jars for ribbon, they have a really good price on those. Stencil Storage does a lot of different sizes of stamp pad holders. This one is specific to make sure it covers these, and you see it's got a little notch so that you can pull that out. If you get the wrong size, you may not be able to reach your ink pad or it'll get in the back, so just pay attention to that if you're ordering from them. And then let's go through this unit. I love this little spinny pencil holder. You can put pens, pencils, whatever. It's great on your desk if you're keeping items, but I just love it. And I think it's just so fashionable because it's got those little gold feet on it. So cute. Okay, that's from Amazon. It'll be in the list. Here, let's talk about how we store our blending brushes. Now, I get lots of questions about this as well. This is another one of those items from Make It by Marko, which, if you remember correctly, the Clutter Keeper that I was using was that. But this is called a bathtub brush holder, and it basically holds, I think it's 8 or 10 brushes, and I have them all lined up here, and I just love that they fit perfectly in here. Let me show it to you from the side. See how it holds them? So they do have some other thing that you could try to stack your brushes on top of each other, but I had started with these, and I really like how it looks in this unit. So I could see the ones in the back. I did use some little dividers or like little plastic pieces just to set them up a little bit higher. So they're not taller, they're just on a raised little platform so that I can see all of the brushes. I have a little bit of the just acrylic organizers for different shapes of brushes, but these nice blending brushes all have these units, which is really cool. Now next to it, I have some more ink pads, and this is a more original to my original craft room. These are my favorite. These are my refill holders. I love these things. They're from Stencil Storage. I'm going to probably paint the edges of them to be a rainbow, but you can put your little bottles of refills in here, and then all of these stack on each other so you can fill this whole unit up. I haven't even filled it up yet, but it looks so good, and it's just an easy way. You can label the outside which ink you're using, and then you can refill all your ink pads right there. So I really like this way of storing all of these bottles because I'm getting to the point I have so many ink refills that it's becoming cumbersome, and this is the best way I've found to store them with the least amount of space. Okay, this unit has lots of my favorites. I love this ink pad carousel. This thing, they make it to where it fits inside of an IKEA Kallax. It does not have to go in one. You could set it on your desk, which would look super cool. But this one specifically fits the Distress Oxides, and I love it. It holds my entire collection of Distress Oxides, which is awesome, and even has some room for some extras. So I love that I can fit them here. This amount of ink would take me like 3 of these Kallax squares if I didn't have it in this carousel. So I really love this unit, highly recommend, and it's one of the best purchases. Okay, let's look at some paper storage. I have paper storage behind me in my desk, but I also have these magazine holders, and these are clear plastic that hold 12 by 12 paper. On this edge, I have some stacked areas where I've got some glitter paper and specialty paper from your Paper Insider. I just put it in some zipper bags, but right here is where the main part of my storage starts, and these are from Amazon. I will make sure to link them for you, but they're 12 by 12 magazine holders. Inside the magazine holders, I have gone with the Jennifer McGuire way of organizing paper using ticket holders. These are from Office Depot. They're a little hard to find right now, so I'm going to show you some alternate options. But I love having each color in its individual pack because it does kind of protect the sides, and it really does hold quite a bit in each pack. Now, these ticket holders can be a little bit hard to find right now, and they also can be expensive depending on how much paper you have. So, if you need another option, here is what I have done on some other ones. I've used the regular amount of just whatever packaging they came in, and these removable post-it notes. Let me show you here. I'm going to go to one that has this, and then I'll stop it so you can see what I mean. But there's these little tab post-it notes that are clear on the bottom, and on the top, I actually added a label, and it sticks on and removes like a Post-it. So you can put it directly on the paper, and that is a really easy, convenient, not too expensive way. So I promised you I'd talk to you about my project cart. Let's look at loading up this project cart and what I'm using it for. This is the We Are Memory Keepers project cart with these removable trays. So here's what it looks like to start with, and I'm going to start adding different trays, and what I'm doing is adding them. The last thing that's due is going to be on the bottom, and so I'm trying to go by company, by project that I've got, have it everything out of its box and on the tray, and then I'm going to load this up so that I can go from the top to bottom in order. And then as things change and things get done, I can move them around so that I can get to my most pressing option up at the top. And on my final shelf, I'll use one of the plastic white baskets that I use in my Kallax unit to just kind of set things up. And it's also a nice catch-all for anything really small. Let's take a final tour of this room. Make sure that if you have specific questions on organization that you look at all the videos listed in the description. I have videos on paper storage. I have videos on embellishment storage, things that gets a little bit more detailed than the general craft room tour. That last basket there is on top of my project cart. I love this back wall. I think I love it even more this year with the changes that I've made, adding a little bit more rainbow features to it and more color in my room. I am super impressed with the stamp carousel this year and would love to have more of those. I've added some ink pad storage, some ink refill storage, and just loving these project carts. So I hope that you've enjoyed this tour. Make sure that you hit like and subscribe on the channel to see more. And also, don't forget, I have tons of card making videos and would love to have you as part of my community. Have a great day. Bye.